This is a NOHON 3-port mini fast charger, and it has 2 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port. Now, I was sent this product to review for free as part of the Amazon Buying Voices program, but I have not been paid for this review, and they have no editorial control over what I say. So in the box, you have a small instruction manual, the block itself with a protective plastic around it, and what they claim to be a, I think, 140 watt USB power cable, USB-C power cable. It's a pretty nice cable, kind of the cloth wrap style, has a little Velcro that you can hold it with. Feels nice, kind of metallic ends here, so it feels pretty good. So here you can basically get 65 watts out of the USB-C ports, and it's less for the USB-A port, although it supports a whole bunch of the quick charge standards and so forth. So we're going to try this out, starting with the USB-A port, and I have here my USB power meter, and hopefully we can get a feel for how much this thing can put out. Okay, so 5.09 volts, 0 amps. We're going to start off with just a Google Pixel phone here, and I have an A to C cable. So plugging that in, it says it is charging. Now it is not doing rapid charging, it's just charging. So here we're at 5 volts at 1.34 amps. Alright, so 6.99 watts, so it's charging at 7 watts. So it doesn't look like through the USB-A cable I can get the full charging that my phone supports. So let's switch over to a USB-C port. And these C ports should do power delivery. And so I have my phone's USB-C to C cable here. Okay, so now it is charging rapidly. So rapidly for my phone is 12.6 watts. So the voltage here has gone up to, it's negotiated to 9 volts, it's 1.2 amps, and it's basically, here it says 11 watts. If I turn the screen on, it goes up to, almost 12 watts there. So it's charging as fast as my phone can draw. And that's really the difficulty at testing something like this, is you need a load that can take the full 65 watts this guy claims to deliver to see if it can actually deliver that. So I have here my Ego battery, which can be charged by USB-C power delivery. And we are going to use their supplied cable here. Okay, now it is charging the battery, and it has negotiated 19 volts at 2 amps, and so we're up to 57 watts, there we go. So 19.5 volts at 3 amps, and it's delivering 62.6 watts. So that is not exactly 65 watts, but that is pretty darn close. So right now, this guy is charging my large Ego battery at 62 watts. We're going to now plug in my phone to the other USB-C port down here to test multi-charging. And so now my phone is charging, and this guy here has gone down to 45 watts. So that is expected. If you have 2 things plugged in, it's going to do 45 watts for the first port, and then it'll go up to 20 watts on the second port. My phone is probably not fully drawing a full 20 watts. It's probably still drawing about the 12 watts that we saw before. But the way this thing works internally is it limits the top port to 44, so it can guarantee it has 20 watts on the bottom port. So you can see that slows down the charging of the Ego battery, but still we're doing 45 watts, so that's pretty good. If I unplug the phone, let's see how long this thing takes to go back up. It looks like it's renegotiating something there. It reset the screen, and now it's going back up. and we're back up to 61.4 watts. So now this guy's charging full speed. We'll try the phone on the USB-A here. And so it is now renegotiating because I plugged in the phone. The phone is charging. So the USB power delivery renegotiated, and the USB power delivery is here at 43 watts. So basically, if you want the full 65 watt power, you can only plug in one thing to a USB-C port. Now, if you're plugging in three things, it's going to split that power among those ports. However, this is doing what it's supposed to do. I'm going to try the second USB port just to make sure the second USB-C port works well. So my meter takes a little while to activate and turn on and flip up and so forth, but you can see it was actually charging during some of that time. You can see here it's up to 62.5 watts. And it's potentially possible my battery just can't draw more than that, but I think the limiting factor here is this power supply, and it's driving, only 62 watts as opposed to the 65 watts that it claims. But, that's pretty darn close to its advertised specifications. Now, right now, it is just barely slightly warm to the touch, not at all hot at all or anything concerning. I'll hit it with a thermal camera. I'm going to let it sit here and charge for 10 or so minutes beforehand, just to see kind of what temperature it gets up to, but I don't anticipate this is going to have any thermal issues here. Okay, this guy's been charging for about 5 minutes now, and you can see that there's definitely some heat buildup in the power adapter, as well as my device that measures how much power is coming through. And you can see the cable is a little bit warm because there's 62 watts going through it. I mean, it's warmer than ambient, but I can't feel any heat on that cable. And then, of course, the power electronics in this guy charging the battery have a little bit of heat as well. So when I put my hand on this, it feels warm to the touch, but it's not at all hot. So, to give you an idea, ambient of the table here is, 22 degrees centigrade. And this guy here is up to 38 centigrade. And my hand here is about 30 centigrade. So it's warm enough that I can feel it, but it's not at all hot or uncomfortably warm. So I'm going to leave it for another 5 or 10 minutes to kind of stabilize and see. It looks like the hottest point there is at the top at 40 degrees. So it looks like right here at the top is kind of, one of the hot points. Okay, it's been running for 10 minutes. My battery charger's gotten warm enough that it's turned on the fan to cool the battery. And this guy, we have the highest point is 58 degrees centigrade here. So 58 degrees centigrade is uncomfortably warm, but not painful to touch. I would not want to have that sitting on my body for a long period of time, because over a long period of time it might cause a burn, but I can certainly hold it, touch it, hold on to it for a significant amount of time without, feeling like it's burning me now. Okay, I've actually fully charged this Ego battery with this charger here. It wasn't very far down, and so it's not drawing any more current, but that's just because the battery's fully charged. Warmth-wise, it's warm. I can tell it's definitely warm. It's a nice hand warmer. It's not uncomfortably hot or burning, but it does heat up when it's drawing the full 65 watts through this guy. So really, I think it comes down to the form factor. This is kind of the long, thin brick form factor. Some people like the square or the closer to the wall form factor. So here I have it plugged into an outlet, and you can see, it sticks out from that outlet a little ways, but you can push down on it, and as long as you're not hanging a device on it, it's going to stay in that outlet pretty well.